Did you know the Avengers once had an Eternal called the Forgotten One? A toxic waste teen named Rage, and even a walking nuclear battery who blew up their own mansion? These heroes changed huge storylines and then vanished into trivia, buried under relaunches, reboots, and movies that never even mentioned they existed until we dragged them back into the spotlight. If you're into comics and nerd content like this, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Gilgamesh is an Eternal so powerful that even his own people called him the Forgotten One, an exile who kept wandering Earth and accidentally starring in human myths for centuries. When the Avengers roster was at one of its thinnest points, this ancient monster hunter finally joined the team in heavy bullhide-styled armor, bringing raw strength, durability, and millennia of combat experience to a lineup that desperately needed muscle. During a brutal clash with the Lava Men, Gilgamesh was injured so badly that he had to be taken back to the Eternals for healing, cutting his Avengers career short, just as it was starting to matter to him and to the team. Later, in the controversial Crossing storyline, he was murdered by Newt, an agent of Immortus posing as Kang, before resurfacing years afterward in new Eternals stories and finally on screen in Marvel's Eternals. Dr. Druid started out as one of Marvel's earliest Silver Age mystic heroes, a psychiatrist and occult scholar who first appeared as Dr. Droom before being reworked into the druidic mentor the Avengers would eventually meet on the page. He joined Earth's mightiest heroes after helping free Avengers Mansion from the Masters of Evil, using hypnosis, telepathy, and illusion to snap the villain Blackout out of mind control and save the team. Once on the team, his Avengers career took a dark turn when he fell under the psychic influence of Ravonna masquerading as Nebula, quietly manipulating the roster and even serving as their leader while she steered the group into her own time war of conquest. Disgraced and broken, he later headlined a grim 1990s miniseries that leaned into corrupted magic, turning him into a tragic, decaying figure on the fringes of the Marvel Universe, far from glory. Jack of Hearts is Jack Hart, son of a human scientist who created the volatile Zero Fluid and an alien Contraxian, hurled into a tank of his father's experiment and reborn as a living battery of unstable zero energy that never fully stops burning. To keep from blowing up everything around him, he wears an elaborate containment suit with a playing card motif, even as grief and rage over his parents' deaths push him into a messy cosmic crusade. As an Avenger, Jack's power is so unstable that he spends most of every day sealed in a special isolation chamber, emerging only for missions where his raw output can turn entire battles around in seconds if he does not lose control. He once reignited the dying sun of Contraxia and accidentally melted a polar ice cap, then later returned as a shambling, explosive corpse in Avengers Disassembled, destroying the mansion and killing Scott Lang in an instant. Rage is Elvin Halliday, a 13-year-old kid who stumbled into a pool of toxic industrial waste while fleeing bullies and emerged days later with the body of a massive adult and strength to match his name. Encouraged by his grandmother Granny Staples, he pulled on a mask, leather jacket, and heavy chain to fight crime, choosing to channel bottled-up anger into something heroic instead of letting it curdle into revenge and bitterness. He barged into Avengers Mansion demanding a spot on the team and calling them out for their lack of black members. Earning a trial membership before the truth about his age forced Captain America to demote him to trainee status on the reserve list. After helping the New Warriors steal a Quinjet to rescue captured friends, Rage was expelled from the Avengers, joined the Warriors full-time, and endured gang violence, personal tragedy, and the harsh politics of the Initiative. Firebird is Benito Juarez, a Mexican-American social worker and devout Catholic who was bathed in strange cold fire when a meteor crashed near Albuquerque, leaving her able to generate and control searing energy. Convinced the event was a gift from God, she took the name Firebird from myth and began defending the American Southwest, often teaming with the Rangers whenever supervillains and giant monsters wandered into her stretch of desert. Later stories revealed the so-called miracle meteor was actually alien experimental waste dumped on Earth, forcing her to balance deep faith with a very sci-fi origin, while she kept risking her life as a hero. She clashed with the Hulk by mistake, helped other heroines scrub down Hydro Base during acts of vengeance, attended Avengers meetings as a reserve, and is still cited by fans as one of Marvel's most overlooked Latina Avengers. Triathlon is Delroy Garrett Jr., a former Olympic sprinter who lost his 3 gold medals in a steroid scandal and watched his entire life fall apart overnight. Desperate for redemption, he joined a New Age religion called the Triune Understanding, whose leader Jonathan Tremont secretly stole the power of the original 3D man and infused it into Delroy, selling him to the world as Triathlon and using his fame to attack the Avengers in the press. Over time, Delroy uncovered the truth about Tremont's manipulation and the stolen legacy in his body, finally channeling the full threefold energy to help the Avengers dethrone his former mentor in the Kang War. After training with the Initiative, he accepted the mantle of 3D Man, gained the ability to spot Skrulls in disguise, served on a Hawaii team, and moved through groups like the Secret Avengers and Agents of Atlas as a quiet cult favorite. Stingray is Walter Newell, an oceanographer and engineer who designed a sleek white and red diving suit tough enough to withstand crushing deep sea pressure, granting him enhanced strength, speed, and a built-in oxygen system like artificial gills. He first appeared as a scientist in Tales to Astonish before debuting as Stingray in Submariner, diving into Namor's world as a human specialist in undersea ecosystems and experimental ocean tech. Operating from a lab, later moved onto the artificial island Hydro Base. He often teamed with Namor and Triton to balance Atlantean politics with surface science, and even rented runway space to the Avengers for their Quinjets. During Armor Wars, Iron Man wrongly attacked him over suspected stolen tech, and years later, Walter joined Captain America's Secret Avengers in Civil War before accepting amnesty and registering as an official hero. Starfox is Eros of Titan, an eternal and brother of Thanos who brings super strength, cosmic durability, and a controversial gift: psionic pleasure powers that tweak the brain's reward centers. When he joined the Avengers, the Wasp decided Eros sounded more like a flirt stage name than a hero codename, and rebranded him as Starfox, turning the shameless charmer into the team's smiling cosmic wildcard on Earth and in deep space. His emotional manipulation raised huge ethical questions when a court case forced heroes like She-Hulk to confront whether Starfox had ever used his powers to influence desire without consent, leading him to let Moondragon shut those abilities down for good and walk away in shame. Years later, he resurfaced with his gifts restored and, thanks to Marvel's Eternals film, re-entered pop culture as the flashy, divisive Eternal played by Harry Styles. Living Lightning is Miguel Santos, son of a member of the Legion of the Living Lightning, who tried to clear his father's name, only to be transformed into living electricity by a malfunctioning device hidden deep in the group's secret base. As pure plasma, he can become a streak of lightning across the sky, travel at sublight speeds, survive in space, and fire blinding energy bolts that make him a natural fit for the West Coast Avengers. Miguel clashed with the West Coast Avengers before joining them, later juggling college life with reserve duty and taking part in events like Operation Galactic Storm, Infinity War, and Infinity Crusade. Years later, he sided with Captain America against superhuman registration, then joined the Texas-based Rangers under the Initiative, and was confirmed as gay in a later story, making him one of Marvel's early Latino LGBT Avengers. Silverclaw is Maria de Guadalupe Santiago, an orphan from the village of Camacari in Costa Verde, who grew up with a mystical bond to the volcano goddess Peleali, letting her transform into silver-skinned versions of jaguars, birds, and other animal totems. Chosen from her orphanage to be sponsored by Edwin Jarvis after he saw a TV appeal, she spent her childhood trading heartfelt letters with the Avengers' butler and calling him Uncle Edwin. On her way to study at Empire State University and finally meet Jarvis, her plane was hijacked by agents of Moses Magnum, forcing Silverclaw into action until the Avengers arrived and helped her stop the plot. She later became a reserve Avenger and returned home when Kulan Gath transformed Costa Verde into a Hyborian nightmare and killed Peleali, leaving Lupe with godlike grief, lingering doubt, and untapped potential in modern Marvel stories. And that's our tour through the Avengers nobody talks about anymore. Thanks for sticking to the end. If you enjoyed discovering these forgotten heroes, hit like, Drop a comment with who deserves a comeback, and subscribe so you don't miss the next Marvel Deep Dive.